So good to see you guys once again. I think I just had mute on the whole time, my whole intro, but of course I am Big Cheds. You can find me on Twitter at Big Cheds. You can find my good friend on Twitter at Big Chonas. You know, I was just saying, I love that music. It kind of fires me up. You know, ain't no party like a Big Cheds party, and listening to that music just fires me up. Before I do this show, and I'm in the mood to do a show today. I'm going to do a short one. We're going to, update. We're going to touch base on Bitcoin, see what's going on, and then we'll take your altcoin chart requests from the chat room. Just to remind you guys, I am not an advisor. I'm just someone who likes to talk crypto, and I enjoy reading charts, and I enjoy sharing that with you guys. I'm a Japanese candlestick trader. I'm a volume trader. I also like to think of myself as a newbie helper, a newbie teacher. I got burned a lot when I was starting, so I like to pass that along. So what's going on, fam? So, Bitcoin hasn't changed really that much since the last time we talked about it. We had, of course, the inverted head and shoulders construction. We had the failed neckline break. We talked about Litecoin broke and came back and failed its back test. So we've talked about all that. For me, it's really just in a tightening range here. To keep things simple, we're talking about a trend. To keep things simple, I talk about this a lot. Those of you who've seen my shows, you go downtrend and then sideways and then uptrend. That's kind of what you want to do. So to do that, at some point, you have to put in a higher low. So here's our first low. Okay, we're trying to, at some point, form a higher low. Unfortunately for bulls, they were not able to form that higher low at that 3,600 level here, kind of that shoulder level. For example, even though we failed here in the neckline break, you would have potentially wanted to see this support hold. And you could see it did for a little bit. You had that little wick here. So what am I talking about? Right? So what am I talking about? The support. We have the candle closes from December 27th. That was your ideal level of support to hold. What happened was when the price bounced, rejected upper Bollinger, pulled back, found support there briefly, but initially we had this little lower shadow where bulls rejected lower prices, this lower wick. So if this still was going to hold as a bottom, and let's say it held here and it bounced, then this lower shadow, that's what's called, it would have been called a spring. Like that was potentially a false, bear break. But, and then it happens again here. Up, second time, okay. Okay, a little bit of a bounce. What's the strength of the move? Not a ton of volume here. So what's happened next? Right, we have all that. We're just following the story, right? What's the story? Okay, let's call step one is this whole head and shoulders deal. Okay, step two is like basically breaking the neckline, coming back, finding support here. So we're in that intermediate phase. And now we have maybe step three, little bounce here on the second bear break. But not a lot of follow through. Okay, pull back to support. Once again, dip. Now you can see the candle closes are inching lower. So this support line that I told you bulls wanted to hold, you gotta move it down. So all of a sudden, all right, where are we moving it? Where are we moving it? Is it here? Is it here? You know what I mean? When you find yourself continually moving these support lines down, right? It's kind of you got you're not headed in the right direction if you're a bull. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of this diatribe, you want to eventually start a higher low. Here's your first low. At some point, you're going to have to form a second low. I don't know where that is. We don't know where that is, okay? That's the whole point I'm trying to make. All right, let's back away from that. What do we have? We have tightening range. Bollingers are pinching. Okay, Bollingers are pinching. Everybody knows what that means. Indicative of some type of a volatility move pending. We could look at the volume for clues. Low volume. Is there a volume trend? Okay, yes, a little bit. Kind of a volume trend. So you can tell we're nearing the end of this consolidation period, in my opinion, based on that. We have kind of a weak stochastics, in my opinion. A weak stochastics. It's kind of a little bit of a bounce, but it wants to roll back down. We have the OBV just chilling here, kind of beat up, sort of double bottom-ish, but not so much. And you got the kind of vigor index just kind of channeling down, okay? It's in a little bit of maybe even a triangle consolidation. You can just see just based on a couple things. So you go, okay, triangle consolidation, Bollinger pinch, kind of potentially a double bottom here. It's going to kind of make a move here at some point. Little bullish divergence in the RSI, but it's just weak. It's weak. You don't have a higher low. You have to at some point form a higher low. We keep trying to form a higher low. We have this Dragonfly Doji from January 22nd. Okay, now that's our low. But guess what? This is our low originally on the January 10th candle. So you have to establish a higher low or else the downtrend will continue. And with any trend, you have to assume that the prior trend is in force, right? So in a downtrend, it's always a downtrend until it's not. Like you have to, it's going to continue to be a downtrend. Think about like an NFL game. The call in the field. They'll make a call in the field a certain way, and when they go to replay it, based on how the call in the field was, it has to be overwhelming to overturn it. It's kind of that same concept I'm trying to explain to you guys. I hope you understand. And if you guys do understand that, please indicate in the chat room. I see a bunch of you in there. Caleb, Sam, Malik, Dan. So let's jump right into your chart requests. Caleb, we're going to do TRX right away. I know that one has been interesting. Let's take a look at that. We're at 746 Satoshis. I mean, it's beautiful. It's been channeling very nice. You see the EMA 34 has held on the pullback. We are, of course, on the 12-hour chart, which I like to use, that candle. We do see a little bit of a bearish divergence wherein the price has, let's do it this way. The price is putting in a higher high, candle close, and we're seeing lower highs on oscillators. We're seeing it on the RSI. We're seeing it on the on-balance volume as well. A little bit on the vigor. So that's, potentially a cautionary tale Kind of keeping an eye on this volume here. Let's kind of zoom in. I mean, you have to take it into context. You have potential also for the forming of some type of a double top here. Because you have this is probably a news-driven move. You have all this volume. You have the shooting star. So you have to keep in mind that all of this price action is within the range of the shooting star candle, right? So this is the big daddy. Let me do it this way, right? If you know me, I'm a volume trader. I'm a Japanese candlestick trader. So the candle with the most volume is right here, and it happens to be a very pronounced shooting star. What's a shooting star? Let's pull this one up. Let's pull over here. Oops. Let's try that again. And how about that? There's your shooting star. It's a shooting star candle. Okay, you have a small real candle body. It's similar to a gravestone doji, right? But it's not a doji. It's you could call it a spinning top. So it's spinning top, essentially forming this shooting star. So you have this whole range, this upper range. You have this kind of this like ether, where it's, I mean, it's just crazy move, and kind of everything has to catch. You have to catch up to your moving averages, right? Here are your moving averages. So if you think about the price, like it's almost like a pendulum. Think about how everything moves like a pendulum. Okay, so keeping that in mind. It's got some pretty serious resistance to work through, but look at that. That's kind of interesting. So we have the highs from that June move. Kind of set resistance right there. I mean, this is a really important area. Look at that. Oh, boom. Okay. Lows for May. Support June. Failed support turn into resistance. Confirm resistance, potential upthrust, and right there. So, I mean, TRX, I mean, this is like ground zero. This is a super duper important level. I think if you can break and hold above here with volume, that would be a buy signal. But I just kind of way it's playing out. It stands to reason it's rejected and pulls back to 690, 700 Satoshi. ADA USD for sun-dried potato. Let's check it out. I put out a tweet earlier. I thought this looked bullish. It might be setting up for a new leg. Reason why: we have the on-balance volume strength. We have stochastic reset. We have kind of a consolidation pattern here in the vigor, suggesting kind of a bottom of a channel, in my opinion. And we have an equilibrium pattern with a series of lower highs. And we have our higher lows. Nice little morning star there. And we are, I mean, potentially right there. So this is our higher low you want to hold. Bollingers are pinching. You can see this is getting ready for a move. So just kind of looking at it that way. Just that's, you know, that's what my eye sees. I'll remove all those marks, but that's kind of just what I see when I look at it, right? I don't need to mark it up. I'm kind of just marking up so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Just as a reminder, that's one of the things I do, you know, on Bitcoin Live, where I'm one of the founding analysts. As I'll do a watch list scan. I'll record myself going just like this, you know, talking about all these plays and kind of teaching you my method. I'm really proud of my work there. We'll talk about more about that later. But yeah, so that's the concept with ADA there. That it's heading towards the end of heading towards its pivot, and it leans bullish, in my opinion. Let's take a look at MCDJ. Let's take a look at VET. VET. Okay, so kind of like VET, actually. I'm going to check my notes over here. One moment. And, all right. So, I mean, clearly you can see I have a level of support that has been marked. Let's zoom in and get a little bit more texture in VET. Okay, so we have a potential double bottom here. So essentially, I'm just kind of looking at these highs. It looks to me kind of this series of lower highs was broken, right? So we see you had potentially kind of a descending triangle, or, you know, even if it's not a descending triangle, you had a level of support, multi-tested level of support, and a kind of a down sloping resistance line. So this looks pretty good. There's still plenty of negotiation between the bulls and the bears. It's not certain, but I like this. Actually, this suggests it could actually bounce again. I mean, the RSI got to what, 75? I feel like it can go higher, especially if you see this hold on kind of a back test, and that could be what it's doing right now. I like VET. Let me zoom out and kind of get a little bit more context. Yeah, I definitely like it, because the next, let's see, right there, the next pretty serious level. I'm just checking something, some other notes. Yeah, look at that. So you kind of see this pocket. You see how the price dropped? I mean, this is a, you know, right here is a bunch of, it was a bunch of support that failed, is what I'm trying to say. So there's a pretty big pocket here. So if you can kind of bounce, you know, 120 to 160, it's got a little bit of room to run if it can hold here in the back test. So I definitely like this. Let's go auto and let's remove everything again. So that's what I see when I, oopsie. That's what I see when I look at it. I just eyeball this stuff, right? I can see, okay, double bottom. I can see downtrend break. And I can see, like, volume. I see the oscillators. I see the OBV strength. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I see, okay, I like this. I just see it. Oh, I like it. I just kind of, like, get a sense for it. Hope that makes sense to you guys. Tesla for Faisal. Okay. Let's go Tesla for Faisal. Tesla under crypto, not so much. Yeah, definitely happy to do any other requests for you guys. Like, why not? I'm here. So 12-hour chart. Let's go daily. Okay, and let's take a look here at Tesla. So what draws my eye first is this. Oopsie. Excuse me. What draws my eye first are these volume candles. Let's zoom. Let's do it like this. What draws my eye first are these volume candles, right? I mean, that sticks out to me. That's kind of some capitulation. And note, so you have it's kind of a bullish harami, but not so much. I'm sorry, bullish. Kind of a bullish engulfing, but you really want to have a larger candle, ideally a Maribozu, right? But more importantly than any of that is the fact, look at the volume. So you have the volume on these sell-off days, okay, and then here's your rally day. This is your volume on your rally day, this little green guy. You know, okay, short-term oversold, whatever. But look at that. I mean, that's directional index. I mean, it's kind of a momentum indicator, right? So, you know what I mean? Like that, you know, bearish because you've broken support. Look, this is important support right at that 290-ish level, not to mention 300 psychological support. But you have the lows here. You tried to do some type of a W bottom. That failed. Have the falling window. You get this, another falling window 1, falling window 2. Just not a lot of volume there. So it kind of depends what it does tomorrow. But volume is the clue. And it stands to reason you would test this lower support. I mean, very much so. 250? I mean, like, tell me. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Oh, 100 million%, right? You tell me why Tesla's not going to 250 right now, based on this chart. 253, 255. I'll tell you that much. My friend, let's move on. ZRX for Malik. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's go back to, I'll remove this here. Let's go to ZRX. Let's take a look. How you guys doing there? Say what's up in the chat room. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me what you're up to. You know, are you at work? Are you streaming me on your phone? Or are you at your computer? What are you doing? So ZRX, we have a downtrend break, right? So we can just eyeball it. hopefully you guys by now you can eyeball it, right? Downtrend break, a little bit of a back test. We have our gravestone doji. And so this is daily. Let's go 12 hour. Okay, so it's a shooting star and spinning top, decent sell volume. So this, I mean, this will need to consolidate. So you have essentially a downtrend break, which is like in this case I'd view, and there's good volume behind this candle, even though it's a shooting star. There's good volume here. There's still plenty of loading. This is more like a red light turning yellow than potentially turning green. You can kind of see, I could potentially see, it's almost like an ascending triangle. I could potentially see, yeah, this forming a higher low. I mean, that's what you need to do at this point. You've got your low. Let's remove all those lines. So you've got, where's your higher low? This is your most recent low. Is that our higher low? Right, okay, so then you've got the kind of logical support. You got your logical support right at the 7,600 level. You have a kind of a retest, a reholding of support corresponding with this downtrend break right in this area. Some good volume. Note, look at these volume candles compared to all these. And what you need to do next is, I'd say like 8K. Pretty much you have to hold 8K in the pullback. And now then if it does, then kind of the narrative, I'm going to make a note for myself. Let's see. Keep an eye on that. Yeah, if it pulls back to 8K support, you know, certainly something to keep an eye on. Let's continue on. Sam Horowitz. What do I think about Ren? I haven't heard of that one. REN BTC. Let's go crypto. Ren Protocol. It's on Binance. Okay, it's on the list. 540 Satoshi. On the 12-hour chart. Republic, you can see it's newly listed. You don't have a lot of volume history, and it just looks like a downtrend. You have all these lower highs, right? Lower high, high, lower high, yada yada yada. This is so it's straightforward. If you're a bull here, at some point you have to start breaking one of these lower highs. I would think right around this 500 level. So you have to kind of regain that level. A little bit of an uptick here in the OBV. So that would be some room for optimism. A little bit of loading here. So you have that. So you have some kind of resistance you want to watch, and you have a level of support you want to watch. You have essentially a tight channel. I would watch for a break in either direction. And play it that way. Hope that makes sense from my friend. Let us continue on. Let me just check out the chat room here. I did ADA for sun-dried. Jeremy, what's up, man? Jeremy Snow, I'll do XLM for you. Absolutely. XLM's at 2,800 Satoshis. Just remind you guys, please hit that thumbs up button. If you enjoy what I'm doing, it helps me to put when I with search results for the video. If you don't like what I'm doing, hit thumbs down. So XLM, I mean, it's been in trouble. It's been kind of, you can see it's weak. You know, if you're a bull, if it's a Rorschach test, you know, you want to try to see like a falling. Hold on one second. So if you're doing like if you're a bull, maybe you see a falling wedge. You know, you're watching the RSI for a sign of some type of a short-term bounce. You had this kind of a double dip here, double 30, sub 30 dip in the RSI. On the second, time it led to a decent bounce. What is that? 29 to 32. It's like barely 10%. So this looks weak. So it could be a falling wedge. You do have bullish divergence on the RSI and also on the on-balance volume as well. So you do have bullish divergence, but you have to, let me zoom out. You have to like put in a low somewhere, and it should correspond with prior price history. Let's go daily. Okay. So so here we are, right? Here we are, and I eyeball stuff. I hope you guys, hopefully you're training yourself as well, and you can just see it, right? You're like, oh, I just see it. Oh, okay, look, I see that was support. Yeah, that was support. Yeah, that was support. Look at that, right? So you have to understand the context, the bigger picture of where the price is. Okay, so in the short term, like right now, is it potentially maybe going to be forming falling wedge, maybe, right? But and you got the bullish divergence, but to make it kind of the whole package, you want bullish confluence, more than one signal. So I'm trying to mark kind of a logical support. So you really have a lot of logical support right in that 26 to 2800 level. So I could see this dipping lower and definitely bouncing off that 26, 2700 level in the short term. 2700. Yeah, that would make sense. So appreciate you bringing that to my attention. Take a look at ELF. ELF was just a winner. I did an alert on Bitcoin Live. It was just a winner. A little bit of a sell-off. But I will tell you guys what I liked about it. So what happened was we entered right around here. We got our, I think, a 9% move or 9 or 10% move. So right now, though, we have a shooting star with heavy volume. And what's going to happen is you're going to see some consolidation. So if you're a bull, you want to start to form a higher low. It would make sense at the base of the prior candlestick. Starting from the midpoint of this candlestick to the open, essentially, of this candle would be logical support according to candlestick theory, based on that candlestick. Kind of a Maribozu, even though it's not a shaven top. Of course, you guys can see it's not a shaven top, but a candlestick of that size. It's the largest candlestick in this array for quite a while. The one that was bigger than it was on December 9th, and there was bullish follow through on it as well. So as there was here, now there's a pullback, and look what happened. Okay, on that pullback. Here's the candlestick, right? Started to find support at the midpoint. This is classic candlestick theory. Started to find support at the midpoint, pulled back, support at kind of the base of that candlestick. Support, boom, broke, yada, 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 lobster bisque. But the point, so anyway, this was an alert on Bitcoin Live. The reason I liked it is we had a double bottom. Single bottom, double bottom. OBV was rising. We had some bullish divergence in the OBV. We had cleared bullish divergence in the RSI as well. Vigor index. What we're looking at now is potentially some type of a short-term rejection at the 200 period moving average. We have our shooting star and heavy volume. Bulls will need to find support, but I'd be watching a pullback to 3K on ELF. Based on classic theory. Rashid, BQX. Is that like barbecue coin? Please don't tell me it's barbecue coin. No, okay. BQX. Ain't no part. Interesting. BQX. Consolidating. Could be doing some type of a fallen wedge. Okay. Just eyeballing it. We do have a volume trend. Stochastics, Vigor Index, OBV strength. I kind of like this. It's a little bit of a gamble, though, because it'd be more logical to kind of enter at either of these two lower levels, just based on prior history. Especially here, the risk reward. Would be really good at 35, but if we're going to use volume theory, the volume on this candle, so that's what matters. I mean, there's no volume, and then you have this candle, okay? So you have what we started talking about, kind of that midpoint area of this candle. Serve it as support right now, right back there. So, yeah, I think if this gets down to 42.70... You guys have some nice setups. You're throwing some nice setups at me. If this gets down to 42.70, it might be worth potentially scaling in your Bollingers. You know, a little bit more consolidation, a little bit more. Your Bollingers can kind of catch up a little bit. You know, your moving averages. Maybe you catch that EMA 34. Because OBV is pretty strong here. So, and that's bottoming. Have to see what the RSI does. It seems to be flattening out. But I definitely like this one. Certainly worth keeping an eye on. Let's see. What's up, AT? Nick Godfrey, QKC. What's up, man? Let's check it out. QKC. I'll do a couple more, and then I'm going to wrap it up. It's been a good show. I've had a lot of fun with you guys. QKC clearly has a very important level it needs to hold. Easy to eyeball that. Some very nice volume. Quite a bit of profit taking rejected near the tweezer. Kind of a double top-ish, if you will. We still have continued on-balance volume strength. So, I think if this pulls back to, what are we at, 960? If this pulls back to 920, it actually may look appealing. You know, what's happening right now is we have a sideways, we have a kind of a sideways Bitcoin environment, and that's ideal for altcoins. Absolutely ideal. You know, when we have stability, because when it's running, when Bitcoin's, you know, running, people sell alts to get into Bitcoin. When it's falling, people sell alts to get into, you know, Tether or whatever the heck they do, fiat. So I like QKC in summary. I think we have some clearly established support. A retest of that would be healthy, corresponding with the lower Bollinger Band. And, you know, kind of keep an eye on it that way. I've done ADA already. Let's see here. And I'll do the last one. POE for Amthalok, POE. Sorry if you guys are lagging. If you're, you know, the replay when I post it will have no lag, so you can just check your ticker. Let me just say that in a sec. When I post, there will be no lag. When I post, there will be the video. Yeah, so I will timestamp, just as always. I'll timestamp it so you guys can go back and look. Right, once I upload the video, yeah, or once it processes it, or whatnot, is what I'm trying to say. You'll be just fine. So POE right now we're at 150 Satosh, and we're trying to establish support. We don't have a lot of volume, but we do have the OBV strength. I'm noting that we see a little bit of loading, and we do have a lower high break. So we have this inverted hammer from the 24th of December. We had this tweezer top that broke. This is kind of trying to break out of this channel here. So I would keep an eye on this in the sense that if it could continue to hold. Now we have a new high here, so it's going to be these two candles. If this can break and close above 159, 160, I think you will be in good shape. And I will wrap it up there. It looks like there's some lag or whatnot, but I covered a lot of coins, probably 10 or 15. And just to remind you guys, you know what we talked about with Bitcoin. We are in a kind of a consolidation channel. We are post kind of a failed inverted head and shoulders, and we are testing support. We're testing shoulder support. We broke, in my opinion, ideal support, which would have been candle close from December 27th, right around that 3,600 level. We have a Bollinger pinch, OBV weakness. You know, we have plenty of consolidation